Before you guys start losing it on me in the comment section down below, I do not think the Pistons are winning the championship this year. I do think they can do some damage in the first round and possibly even in the second round of the playoffs this season, the way this team has played since December 20th. I saw a stat this morning that said that since December 20th, the Detroit Pistons are 21-9. There's only 3 teams that have been better than them in that time frame, and only one of those teams is in the Eastern Conference, and that's the Cleveland Cavaliers, that's the Oklahoma City Thunder, and that's the Denver Nuggets. They are 21-4, and we're 21-9, and the Denver Nuggets are 21-8, something like that. So we're competing with the top level teams. I would like to see what we do when we're playing against Denver, when we're playing against Boston, when we play against Cleveland coming up here in the next couple weeks. This week's going to be tough, especially because the next 2 games, we got Boston, we got Denver. I want to see how we're stacking up against these teams before I come to a conclusion that says, hey, we might make a run toward the championship this year. But that's not at all what I'm saying. I am very confident in this Detroit Pistons team that they can go out and win any single night, anytime they're playing, just with the effort level they play with. Everyone on this team plays for each other. Everyone locks in on the defensive side of the ball, and they all want to win. That is so key. JB Bickerstaff, better win coach of the year. You don't go from worst in the league to one of the top teams, or the top 6 seed, and they're climbing the standings right now. Watch out Milwaukee. Watch out Indiana, and watch out New York. New York's on a 2-3 game losing streak right now. They could be losing. We're 6 back from them to get into the 3 seed. But the Detroit Pistons finishing the top 5 in the East. How do you not give it to JB Bickerstaff? This dude has transformed this Pistons team. And like you said back in July, once it gets to February and March, you're going to be able to turn on Pistons basketball and say, that's Pistons basketball right there. They have an identity. They play hard. They get back on defense, and they lock in. It's so awesome to watch, and they've won 2 huge games this week. I thought this 7-game winning streak was going to end on Sunday when they played Atlanta, just because when we play Atlanta, it's always a high-scoring game. Trae Young hits a game winner on some fluke shots. Those are games in the past this Detroit Pistons team would have lost, and now they're winning these games. Earlier in the season, all I was saying is, give this team some time. They're there. They just got to learn how to win. They finally know how to win games. They finally know how to close out games, and we're seeing it happen right now. Because in these last few games, we'll strike at the end of the game. The other team strikes, takes the lead, and we bounce right back, punch back in the face, and we knock them out with a haymaker. That's what happened with Atlanta the other day, and that's what's happened last night. It was a close game, back and forth. It was a defensive battle. That was a scrappy game last night. The Clippers are a solid defensive team. The Clippers are just a solid team overall, and this Detroit Pistons team prevailed. It was a back and forth game, and later in the end of that 3rd quarter and early in the 4th quarter, they built a 10-point lead, and they didn't look back. That's what I love to see. And for you Pistons slappies like I am, when you're watching the team last year, they were in games. They just couldn't figure out how to close them out. They couldn't figure out how to win. And this just goes back to my point with JB Bickerstaff. He's totally transformed this team. He's made them believe in themselves, and they believe in one another, and they know whoever goes out there, they're going to do their job. Let's start with Cade Cunningham. I got in an argument in one of my comment sections a couple weeks ago about the Dennis Schroeder trade. The Spurs fans comment on my thing. Cade's not that good. Cade's maybe a top 20 player. Are you crazy? You lost me with the argument right there. Cade's going to get MVP votes at the end of the year. He should be first team All-NBA the way he's playing right now. 38 points and 12 assists against Atlanta. Only got to the free throw line 3 times. That's a crime. And then last night they made up for it because he got to the free throw line 12 times, puts up 32 points, another close to a double-digit assist game. Cade is him. Cade is one of them ones, and it's so fun to watch. And it's time to start getting some national media or national fan recognition, because Cade's not just a top 20 player. Cade's not. This Detroit Pistons team has a bright future, whether you like to admit it or not. It's just Detroit. People see that. It's the Detroit Pistons. We're a losing franchise. We're not. We're one of the only franchises with 3 championships. So we're not a losing franchise. This team has been good before. They just needed competent people running this team, getting competent vets around Cade Cunningham. And look what they're doing. The future is really bright. And this was back in my argument. He was arguing with me about the Spurs and the Detroit Pistons future. And the Spurs do have a bright future. That's not what I'm saying. But he was saying that the Pistons have no future at all. Cade's he's going to be an MVP. He's going to probably be one of the faces of the league in the next couple of years. You got Jaden Ivey, who before he broke his leg was on fire. And then you got Asar Thompson, who's coming into his own. And you got Jalen Duren, who's the last week or last month, or however you want to say it, has been playing like a prime time center. He's only 21 years old. And they have a buttload of cap space going into this offseason. So the future is so bright for this Detroit Pistons team. But let's break down last night to win 7 games in a row. This is why I believe the Detroit Pistons can make a run in the playoffs, because they play so hard. They lock in on the defensive end, and it's coming from all over the court. It's not just coming from Cade. It's coming from Asar. Asar is facilitating. You got Tobias Harris, who early in the season we were all not like hating on him, but he was struggling. We're like, come on, we paid you all this money. We need you to be that strong vet. And he's been being that strong vet lately. Tim Hardaway Jr. has been solid. Malik Beasley's been unreal from the 3-point line. This team is really good. And how about the addition of Dennis Schroeder? That's why I said he was a steal of the trade deadline. We got him for pennies, and look what he's doing for us. He won us that game in Atlanta last night, and when he comes off the bench, he's playing pesty defense. He's can play with Cade Cunningham. He's leading a second unit off the court. And the Cade when there's non-Cade minutes, this Detroit Pistons team is actually excelling. Where when we didn't have Schroeder, it was kind of like, oh my God, the second unit is awful. This is why this Detroit Pistons team can make a run in the playoffs. Not going to win a championship this year, unfortunately. But they can, they can definitely do some damage with Cade, Asar, Jaden Ivey when he comes out, Jalen Duren. They're all playing for each other. They all play really hard. And I'm extremely excited about this Detroit Pistons team. That's 7 in a row. Let's see how they stack up against Boston tomorrow night. Let's go for 8 in a row. We almost beat Boston earlier in the season. We couldn't close that game out. And that goes back to my point earlier in the video. We just didn't know how to close out games. It's time to close it out. Let's win 8 in a row. And let's make a statement in the NBA. It's your boy T signing out. Like the video, comment down below, subscribe to the channel. Please keep helping this channel grow. I really appreciate you guys for tuning in, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.